We're going to be looking at this article called Embracing the Intensity, Grasping Hyperfixation in Autism.
Interesting.
But we're going to go a little bit beyond just autism today.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So have you ever gotten so engrossed in something that hours just vanish?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we've all had that experience.
Yeah, and turns out there's a whole science to that.
Cool.
So what is hyperfixation?
Well, hyperfixation, it's not just really being into something, right? It's this intense and prolonged focus.
Okay.
And it's marked by this exceptional attention to detail. So it's often linked to autism. But neurotypical folks can experience it too.
Right.
It can happen to anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing the article mentions is that it's often used interchangeably with hyperfocus. So we should probably clarify that.
Yeah, so how are they different?
So it's a little tricky, but hyperfixation is all-consuming,
Yeah.
It can lead to neglecting your basic needs, like forgetting to eat because you're so into a project.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then special interests, on the other hand, are really strong passions, but they don't usually disrupt your life to the same extent.
So give me some examples.
So the article uses examples like being super focused on dinosaurs or astronomy, music, or coding.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Things like that.
Yeah, so hyperfixation isn't all bad though, right?
No, not at all. There are some serious benefits, you can gain incredible skill and expertise,
Right.
in a chosen area, and that heightened focus can boost your problem solving and creativity. But of course, there are downsides. You might neglect responsibilities, relationships, even basic self-care.
Right.
And sometimes it's difficult to shift focus, which can be frustrating in everyday life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we manage hyperfixation?
Well, it's not about suppressing your passions, right? It's about finding that balance.
Okay.
The article talks about setting boundaries, so designating time slots, using timers, or even having someone help you stay on track. And then another big thing is seeking support.
Okay.
Could be therapy support groups, or even just talking to someone you trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is going beyond just autism, right?
Right. So the article points out that hyperfixation shows up in other neurodivergent conditions too.
Like what?
Well, specifically, they mention ADHD, schizophrenia, and OCD.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, but it's not limited to just diagnoses either. Really, anyone can experience signs of it,
Right.
Yeah.
So hyperfixation can be a good thing for productivity.
Oh, absolutely. The article talks about how when you're truly engaged, your productivity can actually skyrocket.
Wow.
So it's all about channeling that hyper focus,
Okay.
towards meaningful goals.
So it could be a superpower.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. So we were talking about how to make this hyper focus, actually work for you.
Yeah, how do we make it a productivity powerhouse?
Exactly. So the article has some really cool strategies for that.
Good.
And it all starts with figuring out, what really grabs your attention.
Okay, so let's say my hyperfixation is, I don't know, medieval history.
Okay.
How do I make that work for me, in my modern life? I can't exactly go around jousting at the office, can I?
Well, probably not jousting, but you might be surprised at the connections you can find,
Okay.
The article really emphasizes aligning your tasks or projects with your natural interests.
Okay.
So maybe you're a project manager. Could you apply, historical strategies to your team's workflow?
Ooh, using a Gantt chart inspired by a medieval siege timeline or something.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
But what if my job doesn't have those obvious connections?
Right.
I can't exactly weave medieval history into my accounting report.
True. Sometimes it's not that direct.
Yeah.
But you can still create an environment that kind of subtly stimulates your interests. So, imagine having a replica of a medieval manuscript on your desk.
Okay.
Or listening to a podcast about, castle architecture during your commute.
Oh, yeah. I can see that working.
Yeah, it's priming your brain, for that hyper-focused state, even when you're dealing with, the mundane stuff.
Yeah. Okay, but let's be real. Sometimes even those little sparks aren't enough to keep me motivated
Right.
when I'm facing a mountain of work.
Of course, and that's where the article's next tip comes in.
Okay.
Breaking down those overwhelming tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah.
Think of it like building a medieval cathedral. You wouldn't try to construct the entire thing in one go, would you?
Definitely not. I'd probably get lost in the details of a single stained glass window and never finish the rest.
Exactly. So you break it down and conquer one section at a time.
I like it.
Yeah, and setting realistic deadlines, for each of those smaller tasks. That helps maintain that sense of urgency. So the key is to leverage that hyperfocus without letting it lead to burnout.
Right.
Or neglecting other areas of your life.
Which reminds me, the article also talks about boundaries, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It's not about becoming a hermit dedicated solely to my hyperfixation.
No, it's about creating a sustainable relationship,
Okay.
with that intense focus. So setting specific time limits for those deep dives, scheduling breaks, making sure you're getting enough sleep. Those are all crucial, for your long-term well-being.
It's almost like treating your hyperfocus like a powerful, but sometimes unruly steed.
I like that.
You need the right reins and guidance to harness its energy effectively.
Exactly.
But what about the social aspect?
Right.
Does hyperfixation have to be like a solo endeavor?
Not at all. In fact, the article suggests finding ways to share your passion and knowledge with others.
Okay.
Imagine the impact you could have if you channeled your hyperfixation into teaching or mentoring or collaborating with like-minded individuals.
So instead of being like the lone scholar poring over ancient texts,
Yeah.
I could be leading a lively discussion group?
Right.
Or creating engaging online content about medieval history.
Exactly. You could even start a podcast.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
And even if you're not ready for that level of public engagement,
Right.
simply discussing your passion with friends or family, that can be incredibly rewarding.
And who knows, maybe you'll inspire someone else to dive into their own hyperfixation rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there anything else we should keep in mind as we kind of embark on this journey of harnessing our hyperfocus?
One final point that the article emphasizes is self-compassion. There will be times when your hyperfocus works for you and times when it works against you.
Yeah.
It's all part of the process. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into hyperfixation, I want to leave you with a thought.
Buddy, what is it? We've learned so much about this powerful force, right? From recognizing it to harnessing it.
Exactly. We've talked about aligning tasks with interests, breaking things down into those smaller chunks,
Right.
setting boundaries, and even embracing the social aspect of our passions.
It's like we've built a toolkit,
Yeah.
for turning this intense focus into a superpower.
Exactly. And as with any superpower, it takes practice and patience.
Right.
And a healthy dose of self-compassion.
Yeah, because let's be real, we're not going to master this overnight.
Yeah.
There will be days when our hyperfocus feels more like a runaway train than a well-oiled machine.
That's totally normal.
Yeah.
The key is to view those moments as learning opportunities.
Okay.
What worked, what didn't. How can we adjust our approach next time?
It's about embracing the journey, not striving for perfection.
Yeah, I love that.
And remembering that hyperfixation, even with its challenges, it's a part of what makes us unique.
Absolutely. It's a source of, incredible passion, creativity, and drive. And when we learn to work with it instead of against it, we can really unlock our full potential.
So as we resurfing from this exploration, I encourage you to embrace your own hyperfixations.
Yes.
Explore those passions. Dive deep into those rabbit holes and see what incredible things you can achieve.
Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of fellow deep divers out there ready to share their experiences, insights, and support.
And who knows, maybe your hyperfixation will lead you to your next great adventure, a groundbreaking discovery or a masterpiece creation.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep embracing the power of your unique mind.
And most importantly, have fun, because when you're truly engaged in something you love, that's when the magic happens.